Wow, we've transplanted the tomatoes 2 or 3 weeks ago now, and they're doing really well. 2 weeks. And these are all indeterminate tomatoes, so they will keep flowering and thinking they can produce tomatoes until way later than the season will actually allow. So what we're doing by pruning these indeterminate tomatoes to what we call 1 central liter allows the tomatoes to produce less fruit overall, but beautiful fruit in season, and it has a greater chance of ripening. So the tomato has a nature that wants to grow 200-300 tomatoes, but we don't have the season that can support that. So we have to direct that energy into 1 liter, less flowers, and produce really nice fruit in season. So after planting, and once you know that they're growing and they're established, it's time to prune off the suckers. So the tomato will just kind of keep repeating the pattern. So you have the stem, and then every time you have the stem and the leaf at the node there, it develops one of these little things, which is the tomato repeating the pattern. So this little sucker in the crotch there will become a whole tomato plant. So if for some reason this tomato plant was annihilated by a cutworm or something at this point, I could prune the other two, or one of the other two, to 2 liters, filling in this space. But all of these are tied to one, or pruned to 1 liter. We have these strings that hang to the top of the cloche. Once I'm done pruning the to 1 central liter, we'll tie a knot on it, and then this just sort of holds the tomato upright, allowing it to sort of hang on the string, and as it grows we sort of twist the tomato up. So all these tomatoes look really great at this point. We put a nice layer of mulch. I'm not too worried about contamination, but later on in the season, if one does see things like some blight or disease move into the tomato crop, by pruning it you can sort of encourage air circulation, get a little bit more light to this, to say if it's a fungal problem, allowing the tomatoes to fruit a little bit longer. But here today I'm not worried about any kind of contamination, so I'm just using the same pair of pruners. But if I was worried about contamination, I'd have my little hydrogen peroxide spray or a little cloth with a bit of bleach on it, and I'd clean my tools between tomatoes. But I'm not too concerned about that here today. So in here I go. Again, you're going to have to use a knife or something when the suckers get really big like this, but when they're a little smaller like that, it's quite easy just to snap it off, and using your fingers is absolutely fine. The other thing we always have to remember with tomatoes is tobacco smokers, the same diseases that can affect the tobacco crop can also cross-contaminate with your tomatoes. So just make sure you always have really clean hands when you get into your tomato cloche to do pruning. So here I am pinching off the suckers, and when I look at this plant, these are cherry tomatoes and they're really, really vigorous. I don't really want to be cutting that much off, and you can see the pattern repeating little flowers here. I want this growth, this plant matter, to be sort of growing to that 1 central liter. Again, directing the momentum to ripe fruit. So one more little snip there. Up here, that's the last one. That's about the right size. Between there and a little tiny one, those ones are great for pinching with your fingers. So now I take my string, get it in behind the tomato here, and to tie a knot. You don't want it to be a slip knot. You don't want to choke the tomato. You just want it to hold tight. So over, and then under. Tie the knot. Make sure it doesn't slip. And there it is. And then this string just gets sort of nicely twisted around the tomato, like so. Make sure to be gentle at all times. And then as it grows, we'll just continue to twist it up. And hopefully by early July, we're picking sweet little cherry tomatoes off this lovely cherry tomato. Indeterminate, pruned to 1 central liter.